Right, guys, so let's get going. So, when I ask what H. pylori is, so H. pylori, as I stated earlier, is Helicobacter pylori. This particular infection actually causes inflammation in the stomach. So, the target of infection or the organ of infection is the stomach. So, once the stomach gets infected with this very bacteria, one is that it changes the lining or the stomach lining, and then the stomach has certain biofactors within them. For example, it has the ACL, which is slightly acidic, or let's say the stomach is the pH there is slightly acidic. So once an individual becomes infected with Helicobacter pylori, a urease enzyme is being produced, and this urease enzyme, what it does is that it goes and then alters the pH of the stomach, and then causes what do you call it, changing the stomach lining as in inflamming the stomach lining. That is how come we get the name ulcer. So ulcer simply means inflammation. So there can be stomach ulcer, there can be breast ulcer, there can be whatever part of the body that the ulcer might find itself to be, we term it as inflammation. So when this particular happens, there is redness, and then there is redness as a sign of inflammation in the stomach. So let's look out for what are the key routes of transmission. So there are actually two main routes of transmission to this bacteria, and then one is what, through oral to oral transmission. So saliva, contaminated saliva, or let's say salivary. So the infection can be direct body or direct body contact through saliva, which is oral to oral infection or transmission. So anything that has to do with oral to oral, for example, kissing. So kissing is one major area through which people easily get each Helicobacter pylori. So you just have to take that one into practice. So they are actually what do you call it, research undergoing with regards to H. pylori, if it's an STD or no. So looking at how the bacteria really works and how things, the formulation and everything, people believe that it could be an STD. Why not? Because we have a lot of STDs, and then their route of transmission is through oral to oral. For example, oral to oral sex, you can possibly have some certain STDs, and it's true for H. pylori infection as well. So why not? So possibly we just have to take critical care as we look at HIV/AIDS, how people prioritize HIV as regards H. pylori infection. We just have to take that area into consideration as well. So we just also have the fecal oral transmission. So the fecal oral transmission can be anything contaminated food, anything that has to be the fecal matters. If we play around fecal matters and then we don't wash or put practical hygiene into place, we will easily catch these very bacteria. So these are two major areas the bacteria can be transmissible to an individual. So now let's look out for the key symptoms. So there are a lot of symptoms here, but one key symptoms I would like to address is the abdominal pains. This we are talking about recurrent severe abdominal pains. It's recurrent. So for example, this week you might be having abdominal pains around your stomach area. You feel there is a lot of pain, a sharp one, it comes, it go, it comes, it go. There should be a possibility for you to hurry and then go to the lab, get tested for H. pylori infection. If possibly not, you might be cleared off, or possibly it could be H. pylori. So abdominal pains, abdominal pain. You also have the vomiting aspect of it. So vomiting, because the pH of the stomach has been altered, discomfort. So these are the two major, two major key symptoms I would like to touch on. There is a lot of symptoms, nausea, halitosis, and a whole lot of stuff. So basically that is that. So now let's come into the labs. What are some of the labs in the labs we do to confirm that this particular individual has possibly catch the bacteria? So one is that we have the H. pylori antibody test. So the tests are two. We have the antibody and then the antigen. The antibody and then the different protocols for them. We can take your blood sample to run the antibody test for you to get to know if you are H. pylori positive or not. So that's that. And then we take your stool sample also to get to know the antigen, if you have antigen present. In most cases you have all of them positive. In some cases you might have the antibody positive, the antigen negative. That doesn't mean that you are free from the H. pylori infection. There are possibilities like that. Sometimes the bacteria changes themselves a lot, and then we might actually have this kind of scenario. So you just have to get to your prescriber, show your results to your prescriber, let your prescriber get the medications done for you. You also have a culture test for it. It's a bacterial infection, and once everything is bacterial, we do culture. We get to know the antibiotics that are safe for you to use, and then for the betterment of the condition. So if care not taken, there is another test that is not mostly common here in Ghana and in most of the facilities. We also have the brief urease test, the carbon, some people call it carbon urease brief test, and other stuff. So actually you breathe into more like a media, and then when there is colorization, a urease is produced. You get to know that, out of your breath, and then there is discolorization. It means that you are possibly having H. pylori infection. So those are some of the lab, about 4 of them we do to confirm for Helicobacter pylori infection. Now the dangerous part of this bacteria is that if left untreated can cause chronic gastritis. So gastric, we have the stomach region that is gastric. So this gastric side will be inflamed, and then you've heard of acute gastritis. This, if not treated, can lead to chronic gastritis. You might have intestinal metaplasia, adenocarcinoma, and a whole lot of technical terms, So better for you to just get into the lab, get tested with your family members, especially since it's a direct body contact infection. Once a family member catches it, there's possibility of everyone catching it. So why not get everyone in the family tested, and then know the kind of water you are supposed to take. Make sure you don't take contaminated water, contaminated food, and then believe me, you'll be good. You'll be good. So once again, this is Kwabi Dave into the labs with KD. I'll see you guys in the next episode.